Good morning, everybody. I am Mrs. S. Rizwana Begum, Assistant Professor of Physics. The presentation topic of today is quantum dots. Before getting into knowing what is quantum dot, let us understand the basic of that. So we have to know about semiconductor material, band gap, what are excitons, what is quantum confinement, and what are nanostructures. Let us see the basics one by one. Semiconductor materials. So semiconductor materials are crystalline in nature. The semiconductor material has the electrical conductivity value falling between conductors and insulators. The resistance of this material change depending on the temperature. That is, the materials show low resistance when you increase the temperature and they will show high resistance when you decrease the temperature. So actually the semiconductor material will act as semiconductor at room temperature, and it will act as insulator at very low temperature, and it will act as conductor at very high temperature. So the same material can be converted into conducting and non-conducting. On the other hand, the electrical conductivity of these materials can be engineered by introducing metal impurities in the crystal structure. Now with this basic of semiconductors, let us see what is band gap. We all know that atoms have energy band like this. That is, they will have valence band as well as conduction band. Energy gap is the energy difference between the top of the valence band and bottom of the conduction band. So this energy difference is called as band gap. As you could see from the picture, insulating material cannot conduct, or electrical conductivity of insulating material is very low because it has a wide band gap. On the other hand, metals which are perfect conductors show a overlapping of conduction band and valence band. There is no band gap here. Here, semiconductor material which is of our interest has a very small band gap so that you can convert the material into insulator as well as conductor. So this particular property is the major factor which decides the electrical conductivity of solids. So here again you are seeing what is the energy diagram. Here you could see the valence band, here the conduction band. The valence band has electrons, and electrons, when they absorb a photon of energy, these electrons can jump from this valence band to that conduction band. Moreover, the electron present in the conduction band can come back to the valence band by emitting the excess energy in the form of light, heat, anything. So here, when an electron present in the valence band absorbs energy and moves to the conduction band, it leaves a positive vacuum in the valence band. This is called as hole. This pair of electron and hole is called as exciton. This pair is called as exciton, and the average distance between the electron and the hole is called as exciton-Bohr radius. And this particular radius is going to decide the nanostructure of materials. With knowing what is exciton, let us see what is quantum confinement. So this is a quantum principle. Here, the electron-hole pair excitons are spatially confined either in one dimension or in all the three dimensions. This process is called as quantum confinement. So this quantum confinement, if you want to take place, then the size of the particle should be, that is, radius of the particle should be less than the exciton-Bohr radius, or it should approach the de Broglie wavelength of the electron in the conduction band. So this particular quantum confinement is possible or prominent in semiconductor material as their energy gap is an electronic band structure. So with this one, let us see how we can confine the movement of charge carriers inside semiconductor material. So first, this is a bulk material which is three-dimension, meaning is that the charge carriers are free to move in all the three dimensions. So this is three-dimensional bulk material. When you confine one dimension like this, you will get a structure of this way, which is called as two dimension, and the name of this structure is quantum well. Here the particles are allowed to move on a plane, that is the charge carriers are allowed to move on a plane. Again, when you confine with another dimension, the resulting structure is a one-dimensional structure which looks like a wire, and it is called as quantum wire. When you again confine it in the third dimension, the resulting one will be looking somewhat like this, and it is a zero-dimensional material called as quantum dot. So this is a topic that we are going to discuss. So this is how a bulk material gets transformed into a zero-dimensional quantum dot. So nanostructures, as we have seen in the previous slide about the two-dimensional material, one-dimensional material and zero-dimensional material, all have the name of quantum, and all the three structures are nothing but nanostructures. Here, the nanostructure, each single unit present in the nanostructure should be sized between 1 to 100 nanometers. As we all know, nanometer is 10 power minus 9 meter, or in words you could say that it is 1 billionth of a meter. A nanostructure, actually, it is an intermediate size between microscopic and molecular structure. As the size of the nanoparticles are very small, of the order of nanometer, it show or exhibit peculiar or unique optical, electronic or mechanical properties. So with all these basics, let us understand what a quantum dot is. So let us see what is quantum dot. Quantum dots are nanomaterials that are semiconductors. So we can say that quantum dots are semiconductor nanocrystals, and each dot of that crystal size is between 2 nanometer to 10 nanometer in diameter. Then a question comes in our mind. Can we name all the nanomaterial whose size falls between 2 nanometer to 10 nanometer as quantum dot? The answer is no. You cannot say all the nanomaterials whose size fall between this 2 nanometer to 10 nanometer as quantum dot, because quantum dot should obey principle of quantum confinement. The meaning is that it should have zero dimension, and moreover it should show peculiar properties like it should have tunable band gap, and moreover it should have, that is, its optical and electrical properties should be engineered. Then only you can call that particle as a quantum dot. So this quantum dot is sometimes referred as artificial atom. Why we are calling it as artificial atom? The reason behind that is, as we go on reduce the size from 3 dimension, 2 dimension, 1 dimension to 0 dimension, the density of state, which is continuous at the bulk 3 dimension, goes on decreasing, and finally when it comes to 0 dimension, you could see that the energy density of state is discrete, which is same as in the case of a normal atom. That's why we are calling this quantum dots as artificial atoms. Then we should know what are the materials by which we can prepare these quantum dots. So quantum dots are composed of group 2, 4, 3, 5 and 4, 6 materials, and examples are, that is few examples are cadmium selenide, cadmium sulfide and indium arsenide. Let us see the preparation methods of quantum dots. Basically, the preparation can be divided into two categories. One is colloidal synthesis, another one is epitaxial growth employing lithography base. Here you could see the solvent which is heated to very high temperature, and from here whatever material for which you want to get the quantum dot is injected. At very high temperature the colloidal reaction takes place and the resulting one will be a quantum dot. Here in epitaxial growth, first what you do is you just etch the surface with lithography technique, then you do epitaxial growth. Epitaxial growth is nothing but layer by layer formation. So here you could see how finally you have got quantum dots at respective places. So these are the two broad methods by which you can prepare your quantum dots. There are many other methods which are not discussed here. Then the important property of your quantum dot, that is tunable band gap. The band gap of quantum dots can be tunable based on the size of the particle, and the basic of this is nothing but quantum confinement. So here you could see from the figure that as the size of the quantum dot decreases, the band gap increases for a quantum dot. On the other hand, this doesn't happen at bulk material. That's why quantum organic, that is nanomaterials, show different properties compared to bulk materials. So here the next important property, that is fluorescence. Whenever you illuminate light on the quantum dot, they have the property of glowing. So depending on the band gap, you will get different wavelengths emitted from the quantum dots. So as you increase the dot size, as shown in the figure, the wavelength of the emitted photon increases. So quantum dots find applications in LED, production, photodetectors. They can be used as solar cells for power saving technology. Then they can be used as biosensors. They can be used in biological imaging, and they can be used in quantum computing. So these are the references from which I have taken the matter. I wish you all a very nice day. Thank you.